Ben, were you a dog? Were you a cat? Were you a family pet? Ben, were you zombie takeout? What's up? Welcome to episode 314 of Zombie Takeout.
Zombie Takeout.
The B-Movie and Cult Movie Podcast. I'm Uncle John.
And I'm Scotto.
And before we get to this week's movie, just a little bit of news. A few pieces of news, actually. Some good, some bad. Well, mostly bad.
Yeah.
Starting with the good news, we now have a trailer for the upcoming season of Mystery Science Theater 3000, which will be starting on Netflix on April 14th. 3 weeks from when this episode goes up, I think. Because this is going up on Friday. And the trailer, it sets up the new season beautifully. Have you seen it?
No.
Oh. It shows how Jonah is captured and sent up to the SOL.
I actually have tickets to see Patton Oswalt in early June, and he's gonna be recording his Netflix special. It turns out.
Oh wow!
At where we're going to see.
And on to the bad news. Couple more, of course, celebrity deaths. Well, just quickly, Chuck Berry, in my opinion, the real king of rock and roll, one of the most influential guitarists of all time.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah, passed away on Saturday. And more relevant to this show, tribute episodes coming. And yes, I said episodes.
Yeah, this guy deserves a double.
Yeah, Chuck Barris, host of The Gong Show, creator of Newlywed Game and The Dating Game. We both grew up on The Gong Show in our, formative years. It really is the basis for my sense of humor.
Same here. Yeah,
so,
definitely.
Yeah, we have to give Mr. Barris his due.
I think, a lot of the influence is a cross between him and WKRP.
Yeah. For me, it was Gong Show and then Night Court.
Well, yeah, later Night Court, but I mean,
it was only a few years, but yeah.
Early influences.
Yeah, true. I think WKRP was big for me too, come to think of it, yeah.
Because, Gong Show was before WKRP,
a little bit.
but then, I guess they kind of bordered.
Well, I think they were concurrent, because...
you know what? I probably saw reruns around the same time, so yeah.
Well, Gong Show was in syndication up through 80, up until 80. And I think KRP started in, 78, I want to say.
I think they reran Gong Shows
possibly
for a
later.
long time on, Channel 11. Picks.
And I was watching an episode before we recorded tonight, and not only, it was the basis of my sense of humor, but it also, and I've credited, Night Flight with this, but it really gave me my appreciation for weird.
Oh, definitely.
Because it truly celebrated weird, and I think that's where my love of the weird came from.
I mean, a comic with a fucking paper bag on his head?
Yeah. A guy who just kind of danced just to kill time.
Yes. The way to kill time was just to have a stagehand come out and do a little shuffle, throw shit at him, and
right.
Yeah, everyone just go nuts.
More of that over the next 2 weeks. On to this week's movie, which is from 2016, Bad Ben. Of course, that brings us to the impromptu plot summary, sponsored by Found Footage. A really clever idea about 20 years ago. Please don't use it in your next film.
And also brought to you by New Jersey. Where else would a sheriff's auction murder scene in the middle of nowhere cost your entire life savings? All right. So, wow, we have a whole lot of characters to introduce in this one. One of my episode titles was House of the Castaway. All he was missing was the volleyball.
Yeah. That was his phone.
So we have that's true. It was the volley. I didn't think of that. Wilson was his fucking phone. Anyway, we have one of these house flippers. Have you ever seen any of those shows on I don't even know what cable channels run these house flipper guys?
I have family members who've talked about flipping houses, so I'm very familiar with it.
But but I'm talking about the shows about them, where I don't even know what network they're on. I know sometimes in where I work in the break room they will have them on, and I'm just like I hate these people. They are. I mean, and of course they're driving up fucking real estate prices for the area, making it harder, people's taxes. But this dude has the cadence that they give down pat. Says he is one of these house flippers, and the genius ideas begin here. He buys this house sight unseen, of course, at a sheriff's auction, puts his whole life savings into it, and wow, there's all this stuff left behind in it. And he's thinking about how much money he can get for selling these different things. Well, of course, to quote Neil from The Young Ones, there's a poltergeist. And the genius idea, of course, is that he is going to flip this house and stay there while doing the work on it. Though he never really does get much work done, does he?
He just kind of lives there for a while. He mows the lawn. He walks around the place.
Yeah, he's working on this crazy security system that was put in place.
It really doesn't look like it needs any work until you go into the basement.
Yeah,
or the attic.
Yeah. Or the attic, right? The basement and then the attic, and there a lot of doors slam. He pretty much doesn't take a hint to get out of the fucking house. And I guess you could say hilarity ensues pretty much. Yeah.
And of course it opens with the text explaining where the footage came from, like every fucking found footage movie.
Now, honestly, though, I think this is light years better than the Blair Witch Project. Oh,
this is actually pretty good for a found footage movie. I have to say. It's definitely a step above.
It was shocking that it's as good as it is, actually, because on paper...
No, it sounded horrible.
It seemed like the worst movie ever made.
This is why we're reviewing it. We expected it to be hilariously bad.
Right. And so, 15 minutes in, I mean, I'm kind of shocked at how well put together it was. Like, wait a minute.
Yeah. Nigel Bach, the writer, director, producer, and star, is actually a decent actor, at least in this role. I'm not expecting much range from him, but I completely bought him in this role.
I mean, even if he isn't the greatest actor in the world, he's doing what he's doing here is probably one of the hardest things an actor can do. He's starting out in the deep end, if there ever was one for acting. He's fucking working all by himself.
Yeah. And he sells it perfectly.
Whoever was floating around in the background to slam the doors and whatnot.
That's the thing, is not only is he, monologuing for the entire movie, but he's acting against a ghost who isn't there and a phone with presumably no one on the other end of it.
Right.
A lot. And those are very difficult for an actor. And he's also just playing it completely normal. He's playing a regular guy. There's nothing over the top or big about his performance. It's just nice and simple and believable.
The character himself, of course, has to be the world's biggest idiot.
Yeah.
Holy shit. I mean, I don't believe in the supernatural, but if I see security footage of my house where shit is moving by itself...
Yeah. And he actually sees it moving at one point.
And right, if shit's moving in front of me, and I'm having like a tug of war with something that's not there...
Yeah.
I'm not staying in that fucking house anymore.
Right.
I don't care how much money I put into it. I'm out.
Of course, the first thing he does when he gets to the house is take down the religious paraphernalia, which seemed a little on the nose.
Very, very subtle.
Yeah.
I put my notes. Wait a minute. He doesn't take them down.
He actually throws them out. You're right.
In the fucking trash.
Yeah, he throws it out. And a little later, he desecrates a grave.
Subtle. Very subtle.
Yeah. I was a bit surprised that it was set in Jersey, specifically in Atlantic City, or in the Atlantic City area. It was filmed in Egg Harbor, which is, as we were just discussing before we went live, was it a little bit south of AC?
I think it's west of it.
A little west of AC.
So it's like between Atlantic City and those Pine Barrens.
Okay. And yeah, you pretty much saw the Pine Barrens in the movie.
Yeah. Who the hell would live out there?
Yeah, 9 acres and most of it is like marsh and woods.
How many miles is that from you, actually?
Well, maybe an hour and a half.
Oh, really?
AC proper is like 2 hours.
No, from you?
Yeah.
No, I've gone down there from like but maybe I was closer to the Parkway.
Well, it all depends on how you drive and where you are compared to the Parkway, yeah.
So we're familiar with the area.
Yeah,
That's what we're trying to say.
We're both from the area, relatively speaking. With regard to the found footage aspect, the surveillance cameras were a nice touch. Very convenient way to avoid the shaky cam that you get in a lot of found footage.
I mean, that Blair Witch was just fucking unwatchable.
Did you see Cloverfield?
No.
All shaky cam. All the time. I mean, I liked the movie, but it's one of the few times, it's actually only one of 2 times I've been motion sick in my life, and I grew up on boats.
Huh. But yeah, the security camera, and it even kind of makes sense that that kind of security camera thing was installed because God knows what happened in there.
Well, yeah, true. And even when he was on his cell phone, whenever he would have to, examine something, he would say, I need to put my phone down to give an excuse for, why it's going to get stable for a minute. Also, the vertical video when you saw his face was a very nice touch.
Yeah.
Although I was kind of wondering who he was vlogging to.
Yeah, and the other thing that didn't make any sense was the camera in the basement.
Yeah.
He actually had it back online towards the end. And then we never saw anything that actually happened in the basement.
Like, the house is lined with cameras. Every room has a camera. And
bedrooms have cameras.
Yeah, except the bathrooms, of course.
Yeah, except the bathroom.
Of course, the camera in the basement, which he can't get into, isn't functioning until the end of the movie when he finally gets into the basement.
And how does he not get into the basement for all that time?
Especially when he finally went at it with an axe. The axe got in pretty easily.
Yeah.
Like, he just hit it a few times with an axe and it opened right up.
I mean, when you're going through the house after you first bought it, you're going to want to see every room in the house.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, you check the attic. You take the doors off the hinges if you have to get into it.
Mm-hmm.
And you see what's in the basement.
Right.
I'm still not sure what was in the basement, honestly.
A lot of blood on the door, a chain that moved on its own. That's about it.
Yeah.
I think Bad Ben, whatever Bad Ben was supposed to be, was in the basement.
Right. So they made that clear that Bad Ben was in the basement. But what the fuck was that in the attic then? Was that Good Ben?
I don't know who set up. There was a satanic altar in the
with voodoo dolls, which I don't think they go together.
That's not really a combination there in the attic.
And was that really an altar? They referred to it as an altar.
Well, yeah, it was more of a shrine.
Maybe it was just the buffoon saying there's some sort of altar.
Right.
It was just like the star made out of sticks.
Mm-hmm.
One of the biggest special effects in this movie.
Yeah, a big candle and a urn with some voodoo dolls in it. Actually, the one special effect I liked was the chain, because then we didn't have to endure some horrible attempt to get him to look like he's actually just sliding on because of some supernatural power. Yeah, they actually just pulled him on a chain. It was nicely done. The writing in the ash was also nicely done.
Yeah.
He spills out, or he didn't spill it out, but there was some ash spilled out and it said, not your home in it. I just wish it would have said, Benny, go home. It's a Jersey thing.
Yeah.
Bennies are what we call tourists. And well, I think it's actually just this part of Jersey.
There's like a little confusion whether it refers to Bayonne, Elizabeth, Newark, New York.
That's what I've always heard.
Or if it's just, I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
But it's the people from the Jersey Shore.
Mm-hmm.
The show Jersey Shore. Because those aren't actually people from the Jersey Shore. Those are Staten Islanders.
Yeah, they're from New York.
Who visit New Jersey.
They're the
for
Bennies.
The summer. Yes.
Anyway, back to the movie. Did you like how he pointed out all of the unanswered questions right before he died? He actually said, like, who built the altar and, what's Bad Ben? And he pointed out all the stuff you kind of wanted to know.
That was, it was very, talky at the end. But he still doesn't answer.
No, that's what I got a kick out of it. He said, like, here are all the unanswered questions. You're not getting the answers. That
was just me, or was his delivery very Louis C.K.?
Oh, yeah. If there's ever a big budget version of this, that's who should play. Was it Riley?
CK.
Yeah.
I kind of sunk all my money into this house.
Now, I will say, I did get a little bored about 15 minutes in. When he's, cleaning up the house and he's just kind of starting to see the supernatural stuff.
But was he seeing the supernatural stuff? Because, I mean, he was still just ignoring shit.
Well, yeah, he was starting to notice things were a little weird. I'll put it that way. And then the power outage happened. And it got creepy as fuck.
Well, yeah, I don't quite understand why he went for a stroll after the power went out to see who else was out. That didn't make any sense. Your power goes out, you go to the fucking fuse box first.
Yeah. But the shadow was so nicely done.
Oh, yeah, I've got that in my notes. I mean, I don't know if it made any sense.
No.
But the use of it was fucking brilliant.
I just assumed that was Bad Ben. That was his shadow, to show, as a visual device for the viewer to understand he was moving through here. And I don't know how they pulled that off because it was a shadow moving in the distance, but it was beautifully done.
I mean, it could have just been something small in front of the lights.
Oh, yeah, easily.
To move it by, and we couldn't really see because of the dark, the lights being out, the infragreen
yeah, there's a lot of, is it night vision?
Yeah, it'd be night vision. So what I'm gathering, though, that there was a good Ben and a bad Ben.
Yeah. And
the good Ben was buried out in the back, right?
Well, was it good Ben or bad Ben out there?
Ooh, I think it was good Ben.
Okay.
But
yeah, that's what I thought because of the toy.
But maybe you've got a point. Maybe it was bad. Because I thought Bad Ben was in the basement.
Oh yeah, time. Yeah, at the same time as Good Ben. So they were both in the house at the same time. So Bad Ben wasn't like the ghost of Bad Ben haunting them.
Well, Good Ben was out in the back until he disturbed the grave.
Right.
And he was able to rise. And I'm guessing Good Ben goes into the attic.
Okay.
That's kind of my guess because there's something was in the attic, something was in the basement.
Right. That's true. So your home was a Good Ben. Right.
And why Good Ben was messing around with the satanic altar and all that.
Yeah.
I don't know.
That didn't make any sense at all.
that really made the least amount of sense in this whole movie.
They could have taken out the whole religiousness of it, taken out all the religiosity, taking down the cross and throwing out the Bible and all that, and the satanic altar. Just have him desecrate the grave. There's your story.
Well, I think the religious symbolism was put up to keep Bad Ben at bay.
Mm-hmm. And I can't really ding it for that. A lot of horror movies use, religious symbolism.
And I love the whole, gotta be politically correct. That might freak some people out. But he also said how much, how old the Bible is and how much it's, probably going to be worth. He still throws it out.
Yeah, that's what got me, because he's talking about selling the stuff, which makes sense. Okay, these people left the stuff behind. Yeah, sure, sell it. But then he throws it out, which was the obvious, you shouldn't have done that because something's going to come after you.
But you're also talking about a guy who thinks, just the character, who thinks a pet may have a music box.
That is a very good point. Yeah, he thinks Ben, who's buried in the backyard, might be the family pet, or
that had a music box.
Yeah, that had a toy music box.
Music box. I wonder if this was the pet. I'm like, in my notes in all caps, pets don't have music boxes, you fucking R-word. With 4 exclamation points.
I think that's, and I can't decide if it's an asset or a flaw to the movie. I was never on his side.
No.
I never liked the guy. I never related to him. I never cared about him.
Any of those house flipper shows, you shouldn't be.
Yeah.
Because it's always like, oh, I put this much money into it, and I have to get this much back out of it. And just, oh my God.
But I wasn't exactly on the ghost side either. So, it was just kind of like watching something happen to, I guess, a guy who was kind of annoying. So I guess I enjoyed it on that level.
Yeah, you do find yourself enjoying that he's going through it, but you wind up getting frustrated that he's just so dense.
Yeah.
And in the end, you're just like, he brought this on himself,
Yeah.
dude. I mean,
well, I said that at the beginning when he threw out the religious stuff, and actually when he desecrated the grave, I'm like, yeah, you're fucked, dude.
When he comes back from dinner, the cross is back on the floor because I mean, he took the religious stuff out of the garbage and put it back up when he saw the value in it. And in its place were the voodoo dolls with the knife in them.
Yeah.
And he still stays in the house.
Yeah.
It's like,
because
how much do you need to tell you to get the fuck out?
Because he didn't want to lose his life savings.
Right.
Back to the security cameras for a sec. It did give it almost a B story, which I really liked. Because it was almost seeing this other perspective on the story.
Oh,
the security cameras and when they worked and when they didn't.
Oh, yeah.
It was almost kind of a B story or a second perspective, which was a very nice touch as well. The crying baby with the slow footsteps scared the shit out of me. At one point, he's sleeping and you hear this baby crying and these very slow, methodical footsteps.
I mean, the shit he used to scare you, I mean, were really simple.
Yeah.
And very effective.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, it shows you don't need to do a lot of effects to make a pretty solid movie in the end, really.
Although the scene where he was getting assaulted in bed was a bit silly.
Well, you punched yourself.
Exactly.
Yeah,
I guess you can't really sell that too well with only one person.
Well, I think what he did well with it was you couldn't see exactly what was going on. He was under the cover.
Yeah. He did the best he could with it, but it was a bit silly.
And why you would stay in the house after that?
Exactly.
Okay.
I think it was just spite at that point. and shortly after that, he buries all of the stuff he finds in the shrine in the attic. Well, you think he's going to bury it all, but he just buries the voodoo dolls.
Yeah.
He didn't bury the pentagram or the smashed cross or the candle or the urn. Seemed odd. And then he somehow becomes an exorcist.
The power of Christ.
Like, he doesn't just yell at it to leave. He's got the candle and he's doing this very specific chant. How did he learn this?
I forgot what denomination he said he was.
Well, he just said he was a Christian.
Oh, okay. I thought
he said, I'm a Christian, you can't do this. And the monster, the ghost, was pretty much like, yeah, right, and smacks him upside the head.
So, I mean, he must have been Catholic then, because that would be the only denomination that would believe.
Well, yeah, if he's doing an exorcism, yeah.
In an exorcism.
Right. And after the exorcism, I thought it was just going to be like 10 minutes of peace. They did fake us out nicely.
Well, I think he chased good Ben out.
Well, yeah, exactly.
That's what happened.
But we get maybe 2 or 3 minutes of everything is cool now. There's no more, more ghost. And I'm just thinking okay, it's 10 minutes left. Is that all there is? And then, of course, he has to go into the basement. And it takes 3 whacks with an axe. That was an unintended rhyme and almost a Lizzie Borden reference. To get into the basement, and then he sees this chain swinging on its own power. And I guess once you've seen the furniture fly across the floor, a chain moving on its own power isn't really a big deal.
Yeah, it's just, you just keep going over why would you stay at this point, dude?
Yeah, you can always make more money.
I mean, Darwin does take effect after a while. It's like, okay, I'm seeing all these things go on.
Yeah.
I think I'm just going to stay here, though. I'll sleep here still.
Had this been, a true story at all, it definitely would have been earned him a Darwin Award.
Well, because think about it. The thing assaults him in the middle of the night.
Yeah.
He finds all the knives in the house locked in the back shed.
Yeah.
And he says, "Oh, I think I'll bring these in."
I actually missed that part.
Yeah. He decides, he's like, oh, no wonder why I can't find a single knife in the house. And he goes and brings them in. And that's how the knife was, stabbed with all the voodoo dolls.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, because he gave him all the toys to play with.
Yeah.
So I wanted to, and Chekhov's butcher block.
That's the Chekhov's gun. I was thinking there wasn't one in this one, but you mocked me last week for always pointing out Chekhov's gun, but I didn't see it. He brings the knives in.
But the knives never get used to kill him.
Well, yeah, it's used in the wall. That's about as close as we get, because
I just assumed they were going to do that.
Yeah.
So,
we see the chain that is actually wrapped around his body, 30 seconds before he's actually dead.
Well, yeah, because they don't get into the basement until the very, very end.
Right. And when you see bloody claw marks on the door, on the inside of the door, that's another cue to leave.
Oh, it looks like someone really tried to get out of here.
Yeah, like you're going to be trying in a little bit.
Like someone was held against their will here, huh? I think I'll just hang out.
And it said, I don't know, did I mention Box Studios?
I can't remember while we were off.
I don't know if it was off air or on there. If this is a repeat, I'm sorry. I just saw that it was filmed in Box Studios in Egg Harbor Township, and I had to look up, or I was thinking about looking up Box Studios because I'm like, wow, we have a movie studio in the area, and then I see his name is Nigel Bach. It was his house. Because most of it does take place in the house. There are a couple of driving shots. That's about it.
Yeah.
So he just filmed it at his house. He kind of fucked up his own house to make a movie. You gotta respect that.
Oh, definitely.
On the sequels and remakes?
On the sequels and remakes.
I kind of want to see him get a little more money and try it again.
Well, I think he's laid out a good story for a prequel, hasn't he?
Oh, yeah. Actually, you're right.
Because that way you could actually explain what the fuck happened here.
Yeah, good point. Yeah, that would be the better story because those were all the answers we didn't get.
Yeah.
And I looked him up on IMDb, and this is his only movie.
Huh. Like, wasn't this just an Amazon thing?
It said TV movie, but on I think it was IMDb. Yeah, because there was no Wikipedia page for it. A rare case, a movie that doesn't have a Wikipedia page. And it did say TV movie. I don't know where it originated though. I probably could have said that if it was an Amazon original.
I mean, the beauty is...
Or if he just did it for Amazon, you know what I mean?
According to IMDb, he did this for $300.
That's impressive. Shit, that beats Primer.
He used his own house. It was video recorded, cell phone and whatever stationary cameras that he had set up.
And it probably was just a mid-priced... security camera because it's easy enough to use that stuff.
Yeah.
That's what it was in the context of the movie, so it worked.
So, I mean, I get the found footage thing has been done to death, but he used it so he could, not have to worry about a crew.
And it worked for the story.
Yeah. Without being overly choppy and shaky, and was still able to tell a decent story.
I think I just bumped up my rating. Actually, I did just bump up my rating. So yeah, we'd like to see a prequel. There's no sequel, obviously, unless somebody else buys the house, but then it's just the same story again.
Well, right.
And a big budget remake with Lacey K would be great as well.
Yes, Lacey K.
All right, so on to Brains.
On to Brains.
You mentioned...
But also, we didn't rate it.
You mentioned he made it for $300. I had to bump it up to half a brain. I'm going 4.
I'm at 4 also. I mean, obviously, there's more that could have been done here, but it's a dude by himself, $300.
Made a decent movie.
Made a decent movie. I mean, if you disagree with us, try to make a movie yourself and see how it is. Because this guy...
That's like 5% of what Primer was made for.
Yeah. And I mean, Clerks, think of the thousands that Kevin Smith took. I mean, of course, he had a script and he was using real film.
Right.
I mean, he didn't have the video.
Primer had more than one actor.
Yeah.
But $300 for a decent movie, that's amazing.
It is. I mean, I hope Amazon has at least paid him for it because it's on Prime. You have a Prime membership. You could
and very hard to find otherwise.
Yeah.
Because I'll admit, even if I'm renting or officially getting a movie the right way, I still like to download a copy just so I could just kind of leisurely go through and find the clip for the end of the show.
Yeah.
And this one, I could not find another copy of this one anywhere, which was unheard of. That's like a first. I mean, maybe there were some more obscure stuff like Easter Bunny Kill Kill, I think it was.
Yeah.
That was another one that I probably couldn't have done that with. And I think that might be the last one that didn't have a Wikipedia page. All right, so until next time when we'll be reviewing the Gong Show movie. Yes, I found the Gong Show movie. Actually, I found 2 sources for it. Can't wait.
We've wanted to do that for a long time.
Yeah, we've talked about that before. Unfortunate circumstances, but we were finally getting to it. It looks like it's right up our alley. I just kind of skimmed through it.
In fact, we've talked about this, back to back. Chuck Barris for a while.
Yeah, we have mentioned this because I know you've wanted to do Dangerous Mind for a while as well.
Yeah.
The second half of the 2-part tribute is going to be Confessions of a Dangerous Mind, of course. He was also in a movie called Hugo Pool, but it was just an acting role, and it looks like it was a smallish part, so we're not going to bother with that. Until then, go to zombietakeout.com, check out the album art, the episode description, of course, the episode itself, which you're already listening to. Links to find us on Facebook, Twitter, Google+, and YouTube. Links to subscribe via RSS and iTunes. Please leave us a rating and a review on iTunes. We'd really appreciate it. Also, if you enjoyed the show, spread the word. Give us a little word of mouth. Of course, we appreciate all of the listeners we have, but more would be better. You also find the movie list, every movie we've reviewed so far, and every movie we're going to review, up through, I think the last one in order is Gyo Tokyo Fish Attack, which is an anime that Danny Meeks recommended a while back. I think when we did Ghost in the Shell.
Yeah, we have so many movies ahead of us and on schedule. So
yeah, I've lost track of the number. I think it might be up to like 320 something. You'll also find the request form, although I always talk about the request form, but honestly, I rarely ever check it. If you've got a movie you'd like to hear us review, leave us a voicemail or a comment on social media telling us about it. We're much more likely to see it there than the actual request form.
Definitely.
And of course, the recommendations list. I wasn't sure. I was on the fence, and then you mentioned how cheaply he made it.
This was such a shock. I mean,
yeah.
I really thought we were going to see one of the worst movies of all time.
Right, yeah, that's why we decided to do it.
And I was just like, wait, he's like pulling this off. How the fuck? I mean, he's a fucking magician is what it comes down to at the end.
He's got to do more movies.
How he came up with the character this stupid, my guess is he was just watching those house flipping shows and really wanted to kill one of those motherfuckers. And this is why he did it.
We've, up until, a decade ago when you moved, we lived our entire lives in Jersey. We've known plenty of people like this.
Very true, actually. Yeah, you're like, wait a minute, you still don't get what's going on here?
Of course, you can email us zombietakeout@gmail.com or leave us a voicemail at 414-368-ZTO1 or for the alphanumerically challenged.
They can, well, I guess, go to Egg Harbor.
414-368-9861. Of course, always remember that you'll always be calling from the middle of Milwaukee. And until next time, always remember, never forget, wherever you go in life, there you are.
Get the fuck out of my house!
So you just noticed something like 10 seconds after we stopped recording.
So yes, on December 25th, at Christmas, I believe.
Yes, that would be Christmas.
2016.
Also Jen's birthday, but that's kind of irrelevant.
Oh, happy birthday, Jen. Belated, of course. Nigel Bach tweets, "What is Bad Ben? Why all the cameras? Who were the previous owners? The prequel begins shooting January 2nd.
We're getting the prequel we just said we wanted.
I wonder what his budget is going to be like for it, though. Maybe like he's going to have a budget from all that he's made off of Amazon, and
yeah,
I think he was saying it's on iTunes and yada yada yada.
I just want to pair Nigel Bach and Shane up and give him a 20 and see what you can do. So yeah, we're getting the prequel. Can't wait for that. Again, this is just such a shock because we were expecting such a pile of shit.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean,
In fact, you had commented on that last week. Nukem High was like a nice return home. We're finally getting back to the cheesy B stuff, and you were saying it's going to continue this week, and no, I mean it was cheesy at points, and it's low budget, but definitely not B.
But yeah, you got to admire someone for putting this together.
Oh yeah.